We want to get out to Conan Nolan. He's live in Washington, D.C. That's where Kamala Harris was holding her watch party. As we take a look at the electoral map there, 194 is currently what Kamala Harris has, VP Kamala Harris, and Trump, 246.
She is inching ever closer to that magic number, but then again, so is he. Let's get right out to Conan Nolan, who is live at Howard University for us. Conan, is she going to speak at all tonight?
No, she is not. And let's cut to the chase. This is over. They haven't called the election. It will be a miracle for Kamala Harris to win this election. He's leading in every battleground state, and this is 2016 all over again. In fact, the same thing happened at the Javits Center 8 years ago where I was. The candidate did not come out, did not concede, did not accept victory. Hillary Clinton just didn't come out. It was John Podesta, the campaign manager, who came out and says, we're looking at the numbers and it's not over yet and we're going to be making sure every vote counts. And then she conceded the next day. That's going to happen now. Kamala Harris did not come out. Cedric Richmond, her campaign co-chair, came out and said almost the same thing, which is, well, we're going to be looking at the numbers and every vote counts, but it's over. She has lost. Donald Trump is, first time since Grover Cleveland in 1892, will be a president who won election to the Oval Office, lost it, and then regained it 4 years later in a remarkable turn of events. Not only is he winning every
Call Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, Bashim Rakakadash, double honors to the apostles, the bishops, the elders of Great Millstone, and Shalom Baharium. All right, Yahweh is the name of the Heavenly Father, which is the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Bahashim, which means in the name of. Yahweh Shai is the name of the only begotten Son who was sent to deliver the children of Israel from their sins. Bahashim Rakakadash means in the name of the Holy Spirit, which is the volume of the book, the Spirit of Truth. And Shalom Baharium, peace to the elect. That's the men, women, and children whose names are written in the Lamb's Book of Life, who's ordained to be delivered in these last days. Shalom to you all. And as you already heard, Kamala Harris lost. All right. Nonetheless, she's still in office. And that's why I want to do this video, because we're living in the times of uncertainty. Okay, where anything can jump off at any moment, right? And keep in mind, this bill was passed not too long ago, all right? The DoD quietly reissues DoD Directive 5240.01, expanding the use of lethal force against U.S. citizens in potentially deadly domestic situations, right? And, as it's already known that Kamala Harris is known as the border czar because of her lack of attention toward the border, the Department of Homeland Security and their, protecting the border of infiltration of enemy combatants to America. Okay, so we still have 2 more months until inauguration. All right, so right now, be it as it may, Kamala Harris is the president. Okay, and under the Constitution, under the guise of martial law, there won't be an inauguration. There won't be a changeover. Now, I'm not saying this will happen. I'm not saying it won't happen, but these are things that we have to still keep in mind. And one thing that I was looking at, there's something where, you have that when a woman, she loses, all right, it's called a bitter bitch, all right, or a bitter woman, and those of us that deal with women understand that when a woman doesn't get her way, she may take the course of her own action, all right, to do something for her to, get her way, or, for her not to lose her pride, and we live in America where, all right, there's many empires in times past, I'll say, in which have inflicted self-wounds to pass legislation. Okay, so this is still on the books. All right, not saying that, Donald Trump won't come into office eventually or whatever. The point of the matter is still to stay on alert. All right, that again, this bitter woman, obviously she's bitter. She didn't want to come out, speak, give a speech, She's upset. You know, she's tight. So what do women typically do? Key your car, break a window, call the cops on you. You know, they do something, they throw low blows, you know? So don't be surprised if something like that occurs. And that's why, you know, I just wanted to put that out there because, again, there's 2 more months until inauguration, you know? So anything can jump off, all right? And one thing that stood out in this article of the DoD quietly reissued DoD Directive 5240, expanding the use of lethal force against U.S. citizens in potentially deadly domestic situations, all right? So, you know, every election, something has happened post voting, you know. You had the J6, you had even prior to that, when Trump won in 2016, I was in D.C. and they had the whole P-Power, pussy power, if you will. There was a big march and, you know, they were out there, you know, protesting, you know, but the tensions are a lot higher right now, okay? But in this article, like I said, all right, you have a circumstance here I want to read. It says, imagine waking up to discover that the U.S. military has quietly been granted the authority to assist in domestic law enforcement activities, including the use of lethal force against U.S. citizens in certain circumstances. Now, consider that this charge, right, was enacted just weeks before an election, already surrounded by concerns about unrest, civil liberties, and potential government overreach. This is the reality of the DoD Directive 52401, reissued on September 27, 2024, which is only a couple weeks ago. All right. Well, I would say about a month and some change. You know, this enactment was reissued. Okay. All right. Just in case. Okay. Just in case something doesn't go, you know, their way. This can be put in place. All right. But anyway, it says a quick summary. It says new provisions. Assassination explicitly forbidden. But this is the one I want to highlight right here, where it says concerns about civil liberties. The expanded definition of national security threats is raising alarms, particularly given DHS, Department of Homeland Security, broader definition of domestic terrorism threats. Okay? A potential, all right? It says domestic terrorism threats, in which these migrants that are here are blended in. You can't tell the difference if they're walking up and down the street or if someone is legally here or illegally here, okay? And that is a growing problem, all right? So either way, this bill, and that's another thing, all right? I seen a brother, he posted on YouTube on a particular chat, he said, no bird can fly without 2 wings. In other words, this is the same bird with the, even though you have Democratic Party, Republican Party, it's the same bird. So Trump can come in office and all hell can break loose and he can implement this as well. Either way, something like this is going to occur. And we know that because of what? Because it's prophecy. All right. This is the book of 2nd Ezra chapter 15. I'm going to start at verse 15. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another with swords in their hands. And a modern day sword is the gun. You got all kind of weapons nowadays, 2 drones, all right, so on and so forth. It says, for there shall be sedition among men. What is sedition? An uprising among men, and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. Okay, meaning what? They're not going to care who's in office. They're not going to care who got elected. They're not going to go through the just due process. Okay, talking about the people here in America. All right, mainly. All right, and then that's a cause and a reaction for martial law. Okay, which ultimately is going to boil down to an identification device being implanted in the people so that you can identify who is a terrorist and who isn't, who's domestically here, who's legally here, who isn't. That's coming down the pike no matter what president is in office. Okay, whether it gets jumping before the inauguration or whether it gets jumping after inauguration, this is coming into place. It says, for a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Right, because if you get an enactment of martial law, the DoD, The DoD Directive 52401.01, if you get something like that in place, best believe the resources that are commonly exported, imported, transported are not going to be readily at use. They're not going to be as convenient. So there is going to be a lack of bread. There's going to be less availability of resources. So people are going to wild out for that as well. Okay? All right? It says, a man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. All right? So let's see what happens in the very near future, man. As you see, this dude here, I forget this gentleman's name, this journalist, news reporter. All right? He talked about how, she didn't come out. She didn't give a speech. Well, she can act like a bitter bitch if she wants to. All right? And quite frankly, I hope so. I don't care. And I know I speak for other brothers who are hastening the day and wanting the downfall of America to come soon, because it's coming. All right? And then we also have the situation over there in the Middle East. Okay? And this is why it does make sense also, too, for Trump to get in office, because he's strong on Israel. All right? That's one of the main things he's going to focus on, is the war on Israel. So something could jump off prior to him getting inaugurated, and then him getting inaugurated, and then him getting in office. You're going to have war on all fronts. All right? The scriptures tell you about that. Matter of fact, I'm going to close on that. Let me go to the book of Amos. There's another one I'm thinking of too. This is Amos chapter 5. I'm going to start at verse 18. Woe unto you that desire the day of the Lord, to what end it is for you? The day of the Lord is darkness and not light, as if a man did flee from a lion and a bear met him, or went into the house and leaned his hand on the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of the Lord be darkness and not light, even very dark, and no brightness in it? Okay, and that's how it's going to be, to where you thinking that you're overcoming one situation, but there's going to be several other occasions awaiting for you around the corner. Okay, the other one, terror shall make him afraid on every side. That's the other one I was thinking of. Spirit want me to get. Oh, that's why. Here we go. Job chapter 18. All right. We start at verse 10. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and a trap for him in the way. Right. Because it's inevitable, no matter what president comes into office. All right. It's already written that America is going to be destroyed, that it's going to be martial law, that it's going to be an MOTB, the implementation of the Charagma. All right. And in his mind, he wants to overcome and be the ruler forever. But that's not the case. But the Most High has it in his mind for him to keep reaching for that ability, even though he won't be able to achieve it. So it says, I'm going to start at verse 9. The jinn shall take him by the heel, and the robber shall prevail against him. The snare is laid for him in the ground, and the trap for him in the way. Terrors shall make him afraid on every side, and shall drive him to his feet. His strength shall be hunger bitten, and destruction shall be ready at his side, because the end game ultimately is thermonuclear destruction. All right? Where there's a war between Russia, Iran, and America, and all the other countries that's going to get involved being vassal countries. All right? But the main players, according to prophecy, is Russia, China, America, Babylon, Medio-Persia. Okay? And then what? The victory being Yahushua returning with the heavenly host to deliver the children out of captivity so that we go into captivity no more. All right? Call Lord Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahushai, Ba'ashim Rakak Wadash, and Shalom to the elect out there.
Battleground state currently,